Hey everybody, welcome to Post to Post. My name is Neil if you're new, and welcome to the first episode of the NHL Weekly News, where every single Monday I'm going to go over the news and notes and drama and trades and whatever from the previous week. So since this is the first episode, I'll just give a little introduction. The intention of this is to be quick. I know this little intro part's taking a little bit of time, but the intention for these videos is to be quick. To the point, get you the news, and have you to go on your way. I'm not going to be sitting here for 30, 40 minutes talking about the news, coming at you with some quick notes and maybe some links down below in the description to send you off in other directions if you want to learn more on a specific topic. So that's really what it comes down to. Every single Monday morning or Monday afternoon, you're going to get this video talking about the previous week. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. All right, it might seem like a lot, but I've got 24 topics to get through. Let's get through them as quickly as we can. Topic number one is going to be the first Seattle Kraken game. I'm not sure if anyone watched it out there. I'm sure a lot of people did, but I know not everyone did. But it was a fun event. Unfortunately, Seattle did lose. It was 4-3 for Vegas. But, I mean, the T-Mobile Arena was amazing. I've been there. I love it there. Vegas fans are awesome. But, and I was rooting selfishly for Seattle because it was their first game. But the pregame show, I'm not sure if you saw it. I'm going to link to it down below in the description. But Vegas had the entire ice covered in a big video of them kind of defeating this like Kraken out of the water. It was amazing. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. It is awesome. Like I said, I'll link it down below in the description. I won't spoil any more than that, but yeah, go check it out. Also, Seattle was missing a bunch of players with COVID, unfortunately. So, it's a week later basically now, and things are starting to progress for the team, getting players back. So fingers crossed that continues and Seattle has no more COVID issues and stuff. But yeah, it was still a really good first game for the Seattle Kraken, that's for sure. Topic number two, we're going to look at the top 5 NHL teams in this past week. Starting off with number 1, we've got the Pittsburgh Penguins with 5 points, Carolina with 4, Minnesota with 4, Columbus with 4, Florida with 4, and bonus, I've got to throw Buffalo in here. They've got 4 as well. I'm repping the Buffalo because they had a pretty good week. I mean, listen, there hasn't been that many games played, but Buffalo is in the top 10 of the NHL. I have to note about it. I have to note it. The bottom 5 teams in the NHL. Calgary was 0 points. Nashville was 0. Winnipeg was 0. The Islanders was 0. So not really a big deal. Some of these teams only play 1 game. But the biggest deal is the last place team, the Montreal Canadiens, my actual favorite team. 0 points, 3 games played, 0 wins. Tire fire. Not good in Montreal, that's for sure. Top 5 in points. Next topic. Kopitar, we got 7. Stamkos, we got 7. Drew Doughty with 6, putting up those power play points. Ovechkin with 5. Bertuzzi with 5. Great stuff there. I think McDavid also has 5, maybe right behind Bertuzzi. Top 5 goalies in the NHL right now, based on goals against average. And number 1, we've got Jack Campbell, 0.86 goals against average. Vanacek, 1.44 in second. And third, we've got Merzlikins, 1.47. Fourth, we got Talbot at 1.51 and Mike Smith at 1.92. If you guys are paying attention to fantasy, some of these names, whether it's a goalie, whether it's a player, keep an eye on. We've got an important second week coming up. All right, moving on to the next bit of news. It involves my Montreal Canadiens. They have signed Nick Suzuki for 8 years, $63 million, which equals $7.875 million per year on average against the cap. Now, 2 little notes about this contract. There's a $4 million signing bonus in the first year of the contract, which is next year. And then in the last 3 years of the contract, there's actually a modified no-trade clause. So I hate contracts that have, entire thing is full of a no-trade clause or even a modified no-trade clause. I hate that crap. Like, that makes things so difficult in the future to try and fix a problem if there is a problem. So the fact that this is a bit of a hybrid contract where the first majority of the contract has nothing, no real clauses like that, I am okay with. I think this is a nicely structured contract. The last 3 years with a modified no trade clause, I can accept that. So I really like this. I love the fact that Suzuki's locked in. Thumbs up from me here. Continuing with the Canadiens, Carey Price enters the player assistance program. A lot of people asked why I did not make a video on this, and it was mainly due to one fact. I don't really care the reason why Carey Price is in this player assistance program. It doesn't matter to me his reasoning. A lot of people were like, oh my God, he's on cocaine or something. Who cares? It doesn't matter to me. If it matters to you, I guess that's fine. I'm not telling you how to feel, but I don't care personally. Maybe he just has trouble sleeping and he's got insomnia. Maybe I don't know. I haven't even thought about it because I don't care. It really comes down to that. I'm just happy that he's getting help for whatever the problem is. It doesn't matter to me. He stood up. He made a decision. He put himself on the line. He put himself out for criticism, but he did the right thing for himself and his family. I respect it, and that's all it comes down to. So it looks like he's going to be gone for about 30 games. That's really all the news on the entire situation. Moving on to the next one, the Arizona Coyotes. Oh, did you guys watch that first game with their Kachina white jerseys? I don't have one, obviously. I'd be probably wearing it if I did, but as soon as it goes on sale, I am definitely getting one. Oh my god, it looks so damn good. The NHL actually has players still in the league that are not vaccinated. According to Gary Bettman, they are down to 4 players who are not vaccinated, but they have not released the names as I've written these notes. If that information has released and I'm incorrect, or if there's certain names that have been released, please let me know down below in the comment section. I would definitely like to be accurate and be updated on some news that maybe I don't know, but that's what I know. Nathan MacKinnon, speaking of COVID, he did test positive for COVID, but he was I can't say that word, asymptomatic. There we go. Moving on, again, we've got Backstrom. Backstrom is suffering a bit of a hip issue that's been bothering him for a little bit, so he's going to miss the first approximately 10 games of the season. So again, if you're into fantasy and stuff, just keep an eye on that. If you've picked him, you may want to consider swapping him out if you have the ability. Mikko Lehtonen suspended by the Blue Jackets. This was really interesting to me. Not a huge name in the league. Not, 80% of fans probably don't even recognize that name. But he signed a contract with Columbus, a 1-year contract, and they tried to send him down to Cleveland, and he didn't report. So the team has suspended him. I don't know if things have progressed beyond that, but I saw a lot of memes online of some little Suki baby kind of memes. So I don't know. He signed a contract for 1 year. He expected to play in the NHL, and he was sent down. So I don't think he's very happy. But if I hear any more news on that, I will definitely let you guys know. Next up is the thing that I've been waiting to share with you guys for a while. Most of you guys probably saw it already, guys and girls. Ovechkin's new commercial. It is amazing. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to spoil it for you. I'm going to link it down below in the description. And go have fun, go watch it. Even if you've watched it once, man, just click the link and go watch it again. It's that good. Speaking of Ovechkin, moving on to the next topic here, he's passed Marcel Dion in all-time goals. He is now 5th. He's got 733 goals. Dion had 731. Next on the list is Brett Hull at 741, and after that is Yager at 766. Sorry, I had that written down wrong. So Brett Hull, 741. He's gonna pass Hull this year. Yager at 766, definitely potential for passing him as well. So this is a big year for Ovechkin, that's for sure. Next on the list is the Vegas All-Star logo has been revealed. Let's bring it up on the screen here. So you can't really speculate about jerseys just based on an event logo, but that's what I do. We've got to talk about the jerseys, even though they don't technically exist yet. If you think about the All-Star jerseys in the NHL in the past couple of years since Adidas took over, and even the last little bit of the Reebok years, they have not been good. They have been actually pretty poor. And I think this is the year that things could really turn around for the NHL and their All-Star jerseys. Because think of the brand that they have to work with. Vegas. Not the Golden Knights, but Las Vegas, the city. There's a lot of potential there for really cool stylistic jerseys where you could maybe incorporate some kind of neon aspect or piping or striping or something that kind of gives vibes for Vegas. So there's a lot of creativity opportunities here for the NHL and Adidas. I'm hoping they knock it out of the park, but who knows. Speaking of logos, the next one that was released was the Stadium Series logo. I'm just going to bring it up on my screen here. There we go. Okay. So again, lots of branding here within the logo. It's Nashville. It's Music City. There's a ton of potential for something on Nashville's end, at least, to maybe do something a little bit special with their Stadium Series. So I'm really, really curious to see what these jerseys look like. Usually Stadium Series are more modern, they take a little bit more risks with their jerseys. So I think these could be amazing, actually. I'm really, really looking forward to it. Next up on the list is, sorry, I lost my spot. The New York Rangers have signed Zibanejad to an 8-year extension, $8.5 million average. I really like him, so I'm okay with this contract. I think long-term, this contract is going to look very good at the front of it. Maybe not so much, still not too bad though, but I like this contract long-term for sure. Speaking of contracts, Ekholm signs with Nashville an extension, 4 years, $6.25 average per year against the cap. I see him maybe like a $4.5 million defenseman, or player rather. But because he's a defenseman, because the economy in the NHL for defensemen means that you overpay, 6.25 seems pretty reasonable to me. I've seen arguments online back and forth with this one, but I'm okay with this one. I like it. The next contract is Brady Tkuchuk, signs an extension with Ottawa, 7 years, $8.214 million average on the cap. This is a controversial one because we haven't seen a full season from Brady Tkuchuk. His first 2 years in the NHL, the first year was he played 71 games. The second season, he also played 71 games, but that was the season where COVID happened and we didn't get to end the season. And then the following season was that weird season we had last year that, they played 52 games or whatever it was. So we haven't seen a full season from Tkuchuk. So the really critical fans, or maybe not fans, the real critical hockey fans, not Ottawa fans, are like, you overpaid hard for him. But then the Ottawa fans are like, we haven't seen a full season. And he's been fairly consistent. There's a lot of potential here. This seems like a reasonable contract. So there's both sides are kind of battling. I'm about in the middle. I'm okay with this contract. Nothing to gripe about here. Really, really curious to see what he does in his fourth year in the NHL, which will hopefully hopefully there's no injuries or whatnot, but a full 82-game season. Now, someone who won't be playing an 82-game season, that's Gabriel Landeskog. He was suspended 2 games. I personally thought it was going to be a fine. If you haven't seen it, again, I'll link it down below in the description. I thought it was going to be a fine of $5,000, and then on Twitter they said that there was going to be a hearing, which I thought that hearings happened even potentially for fines because I didn't think that decisions, or not all decisions, were made until after the conversation with the player. So, for example, if the NHL player safety was on the line between a fine and a game or 2, maybe they would base their decision on the conversation with the player and how they reacted to it. Did they feel remorse? Did they regret it? Whatever the context of the conversation, the penalty or the result of their decision would be determined by the conversation. So I guess I was wrong. If the NHL Department of Player Safety announced that there's going to be a hearing, that automatically means that there's going to be at least 1 game. So not sure if that's actually true, but that's what lots of people said on Twitter, so we'll go with that. But he was suspended $5,000. I thought he was going to be fined $5,000. I personally did not see it being 2 games, but he got 2 games. I thought maybe 1 at the most. I felt like the play was a combination of poor decision-making by Landeskog. Do not endorse his decision at all. It was a semi-dangerous play. It was boarding. It was a stupid decision. He never should have done it, but it was exaggerated by the stance or lack of stance, almost falling of the opposing player, which just kind of made it look worse than it actually was. So, stupid decision by Landeskog. Unfortunate situation, regardless if it was intentional or not, by the other player going down at the right time or whatever. I don't think it was. But I feel like 2 games was a little bit much. Personal opinion. Don't necessarily think I'm right. Just sharing my opinion. Thought maybe a $5,000 fine or 1 game would have been good. But there was another suspension because Dylan Larkin got suspended 1 game for essentially defending himself. I do not agree with this suspension, but at the same time, I kind of do in a way. You can't not defend yourself in that situation. Good for Dylan Larkin. I'm kind of glad that he did it, and he took the 1 game suspension. He probably doesn't really regret it that much. You can't be pushed around in the NHL, especially when you're kind of a little guy like Larkin. Stand up for yourself. If someone gives you the beans, give him the beans back, or give someone else the beans. Show the opposing team, show the league that you don't take nothing. And if you get suspended for it, that's really unfortunate. Obviously, that's not, you don't want that to happen. But I think at the end of the day, he may not regret it because he feels good about him as a person versus him as a hockey player. He stood up for himself, and he doesn't allow himself to get bullied. So I actually kind of like what Larkin did there, even though it resulted in a suspension. A fine actually happened to Andersson from the Flames, $5,000 for roughing against Yamamoto. If I can find the clip, I'll link it down below. Charlie McAvoy signs an extension with the Boston Bruins, 8 years, $9.5 million average. You got to pay. You got to pay for him. That's I could go into detail and stuff, but really it just comes down to you got to pay, and he's a defenseman, and that's what it's all about. And he's going to provide that security on the back end for Boston for a long time. It's needed. Chara's gone. Chara was aging anyway. You got McAvoy back there holding the fort for another 8 years. I like this, and especially long term. 9.5 is going to look very good for a defenseman like that long term, near year 6, 7, 8 of this contract, in my opinion. Okay, so the last topic I have here, which will end out the video, is my picks for games for you to watch every single day in this coming week. So Monday, today, the game that I think that you should watch today, if you're going to pick one of any of them, Anaheim versus Calgary. It starts at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's an interdivisional game. Calgary and Anaheim have this weird, odd rivalry. It's not super prominent in the NHL, but it's a very underrated rivalry. And there was a weird statistic where Calgary couldn't actually win in Anaheim for something crazy, like 26 years or 26 games in a row are ridiculous. So that's actually ended now. The streak is gone, but there's still this weird small rivalry there, and it's an important interdivisional game. So that is my pick for today. Now, Tuesday, tomorrow, my pick is going to be Florida versus Tampa. That's at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's an interstate, interdivisional rivalry matchup. It's going to be physical. It's going to be bruising, and it's going to be... We could see some fines and suspensions. These two teams hate each other now. I am definitely watching this game. You guys should too. It's going to be awesome. Wednesday, Boston versus Philadelphia is my pick. 7:30 Eastern. It's going to be physical. Boston and Philadelphia don't play in the same division. But they're two old teams. When they play each other, things get rough and things get physical, and that's the kind of style of hockey I like. Now listen, Philadelphia isn't the same physical team they used to be. Boston's not the same physical team they used to be. But these games, and my experience of watching, whenever Boston plays Philadelphia, there's always something good that happens. Sometimes it's drama, sometimes it's a little bit of a fight and a scruff. But I always like watching Boston and Philadelphia. Teams I don't really cheer for, but games I like to watch. Thursday, this is a must. Carolina versus Montreal, 7 p.m. Eastern. There's drama between these two teams. There's offer sheets and there's reporting of not enough games being played, and there's a lot going on just between the two teams. But then you have the Kotkaniemi situation. That factors in. It's going to be his first game against Montreal, his opposing team, since he joined Carolina. So that's going to be a doozy. Check out that one on Thursday. Now on Friday, I've got Edmonton versus Vegas. That starts at 10 p.m. Eastern. McDavid on one side, the excitement, and then Vegas. Vegas is just always fun to watch, so that's going to be a good game. Saturday, Vancouver versus Seattle is mine. That starts at 10 p.m. Eastern, so if you're up late, watch that one. Mainly to the fact that this could be the new rivalry in the NHL for, obviously, Seattle's their first year, but also Vancouver. Vancouver has their other rivalries. You could argue Calgary. You could argue San Jose. You could argue Edmonton. There's all kinds of little rivalries for Vancouver, but they don't really have one that's just crazy. The Boston-Vancouver one, it's still there a little bit, but it's not like what it used to be. So Vancouver just needs something. And geographically, what's the closest team to Vancouver? Seattle. So I'm hoping that's going to be a bit of a rivalry. Check out that game on Saturday. And then Sunday, I got the Islanders versus the Vegas Golden Knights. That starts at 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you're up late, watch that one. Vegas, the powerhouse in the West, a potential Stanley Cup final team. The Islanders, powerhouse in the East, potential Stanley Cup final team. This could be a Stanley Cup final matchup. Vegas versus the Islanders. It's going to be good hockey. It could be physical hockey. And maybe not necessarily high-scoring hockey, but really good hockey, and maybe a bit of a teaser for the Stanley Cup Final. So that wraps up the video, guys. I'm not actually sure how long this video was, probably longer than I wanted it to be, but I came at you with a lot of news in this first week. The next ones after this, every single Monday, probably won't be as long. There's not a lot going on other than in the first week. There's signings and there's all kinds of stuff going on in the first week, so the other videos won't be as long. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. And I will see you next Monday for this exact video talking about this week to come and all kinds of other videos on the channel too. Jersey Concept Friday. Got some ranking videos coming up. All kinds of good stuff. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Adios.